Hello again, everybody. I'm Justin Barrientos, and I'm here at the USA Baseball Training Complex in Cary, North Carolina. Coleman Field inside this complex was the home for the NCAA Division II Baseball Championship. And although the Winona State Warriors didn't finish with the national championship, they did finish with one of the best seasons in school history. Eric Lear and I were here in North Carolina to cover the event, and here's how the tournament went down. The Warriors opened up tournament play with a 4-3 victory over number 4 Central Missouri and followed that up with a 9-3 win over the Division II Player of the Year, pitcher Carter Capps, and the host school number 2 Mount Olive. That led to Thursday's semifinal matchup. Here's Eric Lear with a wrap-up of that game.
The Winona State Warriors are one step closer to being crowned Division II's best team. They beat Southern Connecticut 7-5 in the semifinals of the Division II College World Series on Thursday.
The Warriors overcame a 4-run deficit after just one inning of play to tie the game at 4. Tony Mueller knocked in 2 of those runs with a single in the second that scored Ben Sebesta and Seth McMullen.
We just keep telling, this is a 9-inning game. If it was a 1-inning game, we're done, but it's not. We got a lot of at-bats. We got a lot of guys in the bullpen that can throw, and if we can take care of things, we'll be all right.
In the 4th inning, WSU catcher Kyle Sill took a pitch off of his catching hand. After a substantial delay in a meeting with the training staff, he returned to the game. 2 innings later, he notched what turned into be the game-winning hit.
Well, it was, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but it was definitely dislocated, so I knew I had to get it put back in, but it was tough to go through.
The only thing standing between Winona State and its first ever Division II National Championship is West Florida University. After the game, Winona State coach Kyle Polk met with the media and talked about how his team was able to battle back from the slow start.
We did what we wanted to do when we got down here. We wanted to get to that championship game. Guys played well. We kept talking, make sure don't panic after that first inning. Southern Connecticut did a great job. They put the bat on the ball off our guy, Aaron Hoverson, and he hasn't been hit like that all year long. He's done a great job for us, but for whatever reason, he just too much of the plate, I think, and they did a good job. John Wanker then came in though after 3 innings and shut the door on him. Gave us a great outing. He's been a starter for us all year long, but in this situation, we talked, a couple of our starters are going to be in the pen, and he did a great job coming out of the pen and keeping us in the game, and our hitters kept battling and put a 4 spot up and a 3 spot, and that was all we needed.
Polk was then asked how the win would affect the Winona State baseball program.
It means when we go back, people think we're as good as our basketball team. So, because we've had a basketball team that's had a couple of really good runs. No, but these guys, we've worked hard, and this is a bunch of guys that the seniors have been with me 4 or 5 years. They're great guys, they're great students, they do great in the classroom. They do everything we ask of them, and they work their butts off all the time. I mentioned that earlier stuff, and it's just it's one of those things where the senior leadership comes through, and the young guys have all bought in, and they're working hard and make sure our seniors have a good send-off.
And here are a few other highlights from the post-game press conference.
I don't have great stuff, so I was just trying to stay on the corners, make competitive pitches, stay low in the zone. I didn't do a great job of mixing speeds, but made a good pitch when I needed to, and unfortunately they didn't square them up too well. It's pretty exciting. The only game in high school that I pitched that these guys came to watch, I pitched in the state tournament, and I didn't make it out of the first inning. And that, aside from this tournament, had probably been, winning the regionals, probably the biggest games I pitched in. And so, I don't really know what to think right now. This is kind of a whole new feeling. It's kind of disappointing that it's only one more game this season. I'd like to keep going, but it feels great.
When you play on a really nice field, it's easy to do that stuff. And, our field's okay back home, and some of the fields we play in the north, but when you're on a field like this, you can do that stuff. I think the guy, I was joking, the other day, I was out in center field taking fly balls. I even slid for one because it's so nice to slide on the grass. But our defense has been pretty good all year long. We really haven't lost a game because of our defense. I'll take that back. Florida Southern beat us 4-3 when we didn't make a play on a base hit to right field. But besides that, we played pretty good defense. You're going to have errors here and there. We just want to make sure we minimize, don't have them back to back, stay out of big innings. Well, it's kind of like I talk all year long with our guys. That's why we got a 24, 28-man roster during the year, and somebody's also going to have to step up. And honestly, Kyle's done a great job for us, but he's been our backup catcher till our starting catcher got a concussion, and he's jumped in and did a great job. So now we would be down to number 3, which would be Justin Strife. He's worked hard all year long. He's a senior, and he'd do the job. We keep talking to the guys, make sure you're ready to go. When you get a chance to play, you step up and do the job for us. I just told him to slow down. He's you guys are around him all the time. You know he goes 110 miles an hour all the time. He's hyper. He's hyper in a good way though, but so you gotta go to calm him down a little bit. You know, he didn't want to talk to me like the other night too when I went out there. But, you know, just go all I want to do is slow him down, get him to think, stay within himself because he's got everything he needs to be a successful player. So it's just make sure he slows himself down, gets refocused.
It's just unreal. It's kind of surreal right now. It hasn't really sunk in yet, I don't think, for me. It's pretty exciting to be in that national championship game.
After winning their semifinal game against Southern Connecticut on Thursday, the Warriors held a short practice the next morning. We talked with championship game starting pitcher Cody Simon, pitcher outfielder Tony Mueller, and head coach Kyle Pope.
Well, it's just, it's every coach's goal. I don't care what anybody tells you, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking if we have a good season, if we do a great job, we hopefully get a chance to play for that. So it's also a dream come true, I guess, for all our guys, and it's going to be big bonus for our program. The guys that worked so hard the last 4 years, especially our seniors, a good way for them to go out playing in the national title game. Basically, we're just going to try to get a good workout in here today and make sure you guys stay loose. We've done a very good job, guys, staying loose. It's no nerves I've seen at all, so we're going to continue to do that. We're going to have a fun round of BP today. We'll still work on the things that we always do, and actually at the end of it, we're probably going to have some fun because we're going to let the pitchers get around the BP.
Before we came down here, nobody really knew of us besides Winona area and the NSIC, and now sort of we got national attention, and that's pretty cool that we'll play national television tomorrow. It's a pretty crazy feeling. Any college baseball player's dream is to play in the World Series, and let alone the national title game. And for us, it's just an unbelievable ride so far, and hopefully it comes out well tomorrow.
Yeah, earlier in the year it was tough. I remember, shoveling off fields down in Illinois. We just shoveled off snow just so we could play against Parkside, and then to get our home opener going, we were out every day for a couple hours picking the ice off the infield. So, just to come here from that, I think it's made everyone stronger.
So the Winona State Warrior baseball team was in the NCAA Division II championship game, and Eric, we were both down there. It was just a great feeling to see some of the fans that had traveled there and to see this team go through what they went through during the regular season to actually make it to the championship game.
And it was a lot of fun, being at that practice. You could see the guys were loose, having a lot of fun. I know at that point, nerves could really come into play. You're 24 hours away from playing for what you would assume at that point is the biggest game of any of their careers. They were light, goofing around. I was down shooting some video on the field, and they're joking around, talking about, Andres Galarraga and how he played back in the day and wonder what he's doing now. Just very mellow. You wouldn't think at that point that, the biggest game of the season, playing for the biggest trophy in Division II sports, was on the line.
And I like the fact that in the press conferences, we had heard the players say, I wish it wasn't the last game of the season, because this team really played well together, and I think they really had a good time out there.
And you get that vibe just kind of talking with them, or even off camera, just before you hit record, just kind of saying, what's it like out here, and you can just see that, they understand what they were playing for. They know what's on the line in the final game, and from what I gathered, I haven't been around the team all that much, but it seemed like those guys really got along very well, and I think it's no secret that has something to do with why they got so far. If you're friends with your teammates, if you enjoy going out and playing, you're going to have their back, you're going to have a good time, and that usually means positive things. You always hear in Major League Baseball, good clubhouse guys. It seems like they had a whole team of good clubhouse guys.
Yeah, and it's going to be sad to see those seniors go. So we're there at the championship game. We set up all of our equipment. Did you have any thoughts going into that game, what might happen?
I was hoping for a competitive game. I knew both teams were pretty good. I knew that Vargas Vila was highly touted. All he had to do was look at his pitching line, his record and his ERA to know that he was a pretty good pitcher. I was hoping it for just a good competitive game. Unfortunately, it didn't quite go that way, but I think it was still a great experience. From their standpoint, from our standpoint, just from everybody to be in an environment like that. It's not something that a lot of people get to be a part of.
Yeah, it was great to cover an NCAA championship game, which we were able to do, and it was great that Winona State was actually in there, and I had a great feeling for Winona State as well. Cody Simon was on the mound, and he had been a great pitcher all throughout the season, and like you said, the team was loose in that practice. They had been loose all the way through and didn't really care what the ranking was of the team that they were about to play. They had already knocked off number 2 and number 3, and here they were facing off against the 5th-ranked team in the nation. And to me, it looked like everything was aligning for the Warriors.
But when they got to that point, I don't know if you noticed this as well, I kind of thought that they went away from that a little bit in the championship game. We saw West Florida, and you'll see here in a minute, they were the loose team. They were having fun. They were enjoying. They were dancing. They were chatting with fans. They were the loose team. Where Winona State, it didn't seem to have that. I mean, we didn't have a clear view into their dugout from where we were sitting.
Right.
So I don't want to give them too much of a.
Right.
I want to give them some benefit of the doubt.
Right.
We weren't able to see everything there, but they just didn't. They didn't have that loose attitude and that loose mentality that they had earlier in the couple games that we saw.
Well, I remember we were above the West Florida dugout when we had started the day, and we had seen into them and seen all the different things that they were doing with the fans and with just each other, just kind of trying to break any kind of stress that they were feeling.
I think I even mentioned to you at some point that I've never seen a team do so many different high fives before a game. I mean, they were dancing, they were doing 15 different high fives. It was like one guy would make his way down the line to each different teammate, and they had some different, goofy handshake that they were doing. And I think that was just a sign, exactly what we were talking about Winona State before, is that they were, it's a huge game, but we're just going to go out and play baseball.
Right, yeah, we were looking over to the other side, and there they were, taking swings, just throwing the ball back and forth, but it wasn't quite the same as what we had seen in practice the day before, or even before the game on Thursday.
And I think that might have something to do with the slow start, and they had a slow start the game before, but they rallied back right away. But yeah, you can't help but think maybe that had something to do with the sluggish nature of the game on the Winona State side.
All right, well, we've talked about it. Now let's take a look at some of the highlights. The Winona State University baseball team struggled early in the Division II championship game against the West Florida Argonauts. Starting pitcher Cody Simon was hit hard early as the Argonauts scored 4 runs in the first inning off Simon. That was just like Thursday when the Warriors fell behind Southern Connecticut State, but this time the Warriors were not able to come back, and they continued to give up runs to the 5th-ranked team in the country. Simon surrendered 7 runs on 9 hits and 4 innings on the mound.
I just went out there, I struggled a little bit with location. I was getting behind on the hitters a lot, and then it made me, throw the ball basically down the middle. And every time you do that against a good team, obviously, they're going to hit it. So.
Meanwhile, the Argonauts shut down the Warrior offense thanks to good defense and dominant pitching from Daniel Vargas Villa. Vargas Villa struck out 7 Warriors on the day and gave up just 2 runs late in the game. Tony Mueller was a bright spot for the Warriors, going 3 for 4. Mueller was named to the All-Tournament team along with Kyle Sill and Cody Strang, and was also named the co-most outstanding player along with West Florida's Daniel Vargas Villa. Post-game, as expected, emotions on the Warriors side ran high.
It's a great thing for our program. It's excuse me. Some of our seniors have worked hard for. It's been a goal of our program to get to this level, compete. We think we do a pretty good job at Winona State in baseball. It's been a program that's been successful for years. NCAA-wise, we've not been to this point, so it's a great feather in our cap, I think, for that. People recognize that this is a program that does things the right way. We get kids that are good kids, good students.
The Warriors finished the season runners-up in Division II with a record of 42-18. With more on the West Florida victory, here's HBC's Eric Lear.
While the Winona State Warriors looked on from the top step of the third base dugout, the University of West Florida celebrated its first ever national championship. It was a moment that had the Argonauts players and head coach Mike Jeffcoat overcome with joy.
It's special. So proud of these guys. They stuck with us, and they believed in what we were selling and doing it the right way. And words can't describe it.
When it got near the end there, everybody could feel it building, and we were just kind of waiting for that last out to be made. Once we had the lead, big lead, a couple outs left. You could just feel like your hair standing on end. You were just ready for that last out to be made.
Jumping out to a 4-run lead in the first inning and the stellar pitching of Daniel Vargas Villa helped West Florida have a loose attitude all game long. In fact, between the 4th and 5th innings, the entire team turned Coleman Field into a dance party. The Argonauts have plenty to dance about. They finished the 2011 campaign with a 52-9 record. In Cary, North Carolina, Eric Lear, HBC Sports.
Okay, any final thoughts on the championship game, Eric?
Just a touch of disappointment. I was hoping it would be a closer game, a more exciting game. I mean, it was off to a kind of a fast start, but when you get to that sort of a level, you know, I always want the story that you're never going to forget. You know, you want the walk-off home run, you want the 3 at the buzzer, you want the overtime goal. That's kind of what I always hope for in those big games like that. It was kind of decided early in the game, which was a little bit disappointing. You know, if you're wearing purple in the stands, obviously. I guess that's the only thing I kind of took away that was a negative from that, even from the whole experience. You know, I was just hoping that would be a little tighter of a game. I thought the semifinal game was really exciting. It was a good comeback and kind of a back and forth game. You never really knew who was going to come away with the win there. But you know, I guess the only negative I could find from even the whole trip for Winona State was just, you know, they couldn't have made it at least a little more competitive in that final game.
You know, they had played against some really good pitchers. Carter Capps, one from Mount Olive, the host school, but they just couldn't get past this Daniel Vargas Vila from West Florida. It
was very effective, very efficient. You know, he threw a lot of pitches, and you know, but he was accurate with those pitches. He was hitting his spots pretty well. You hear some of the Winona State players say that he wasn't overpowering. You know, he didn't have a triple-digit fastball or anything, but you know, what he was doing out there was working.
Yeah.
And Winona State couldn't string any hits together. I think it wasn't until the 7th inning where they strung a couple hits together. So, I mean, he was effective. He started to tire a little bit. You know, 7th, 8th inning. Then the closer came in the 9th and was throwing gas. And Winona State. I mean, at that point, you're just like, wow, this is it's probably over.
For you, when did you first think that maybe the Warriors were in trouble? Because on Thursday, we had seen they had fallen behind by 4 runs. They were able to come back. In the championship game, they fell behind by 4 runs, but then they got 2 hits right away off of Daniel Vargas Vila. Then he just shut them down afterwards.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see a deja vu from the semifinal game. You know, I didn't really count Winona State out until about the 7th inning, and that was right when they strung a couple hits together and scored their 2 runs. So I'm thinking, no, maybe they're going to make the comeback a little bit later. But just the vibe I got, and you know, without looking at stats or anything like that, just kind of the eye test. Middle innings, I kind of thought, you know, West Florida is loose. They're having fun. They're hitting the ball well. And at that point, Winona State wasn't really doing a whole lot. So I kind of thought middle innings, I just didn't have that feeling that Winona State was going to be able to make the comeback.
Now, in your report, you talked about West Florida kind of turning things into a dance party. At that point, are you thinking, boy, the Warriors are really in trouble here?
Absolutely. I mean, they were having fun. They were having a blast. They knew they were in command of the game. And with the strong pitching that they had, you know, they had a good reason to be confident. They were hitting the ball pretty well as well. And when you got those things working, I mean, what else do you need to have a successful run, to have a good game? I mean, they, you know, just by all looks of it, you know, if you would have walked up and not even looked at records or anything, just kind of looked at a couple innings, I think most people would agree that West Florida was the team that was in command.
Okay, so that's our thoughts on the championship game. Let's get the players' thoughts as we take a look at the post-game press conference.
That's a pretty good team. We knew that coming in. They put the 4 spot up right away, and you know, we had that happen the other night, but they did a very good job. Thought we'd play a little bit better. I don't think we played that bad. We had 10 hits. Just couldn't find the holes. So you can see why they were ranked in the top 5 all year long. Great program. They played pretty good baseball.
Questions?
I was just talking about, you know, not being able to get anything going offensively. It seemed like from the start, we got a couple hits early, but then...
Yeah, we got, first 2 guys got hits. I thought, okay, we'll be all right here. This is, and then we hit a couple balls hard early in the game right at them. You know, that's baseball. What are you going to do? They hit some balls that found holes and rolled through the infield, and we hit balls, squared them up, and hit them right at guys. And so we just never really got anything going with guys on base until the 8th inning. And we got the one hit over the center fielder's head, but we had chances.
Coach, you played some of the top-ranked teams in the country during this tournament. What was the difference between West Florida and the rest of the competition?
You know, they're all good. They're all good teams, and I think one bigger thing is we proved that we can play with those teams. You can see why their starting pitcher was 15-1 on here. I think he was first-team All-American. He did a really good job. He wasn't overpowering at all. You know, he got a few strikeouts, but he did a great job locating, putting the ball, throwing the pitches where he wanted. And kept us off balance and didn't give us a chance to get anything going.
So did you feel confident early on when you getting a hit early and maybe you guys are going to come right back and get back in this?
Yeah, you know, they got the first 4 runs in the first inning. Then the same thing happened when we played Southern Connecticut on Thursday night. They scored 4 runs right away. We got a couple hits, and they helped us out. And you know, me and Nate got those first 2 hits, and you know, Adam put a good swing on the one to right center. Joe, who's been doing it for 4 years for us all year, he just struck out, and you know, we just couldn't put it together quite. Our goal since we came in to make it to the College World Series, and we knew we had a team that could do it. And we came here, we won the regional, we got here, and we knew anything could happen once we got here. We beat a couple teams that not only a lot of people gave us a chance to beat, and you know, it's probably the same thing today, and West Florida just came out on top, but it's been the best experience of my life playing baseball.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we wanted to get here. That was our goal whole year, and you know, if we could ever put everything together like we have here in the past couple of weeks, see what happens with their team. You know, we beat some pretty good teams, and you know, we just came up a little bit short.
Tony, tell me a little bit your pitcher, you know, Marcus Wheeler. What was he? Was he one of the toughest pitchers you faced, or he kind of kept you guys off balance a little bit? I know you got some hits off, but overall your team just did that.
Yeah, you know, all season long we tended to hit guys that threw hard pretty well. I mean, he threw a good fastball, but what he did better was he threw a lot more off-speed pitches for the strike in the strike zone, and I think that's where we struggled a little bit was the off-speed pitches. But you know, we put some good swings on balls, and they were just right at people.
What's going through your mind first inning there? You know, they get to 4. You guys come back from 4 against Southern Connecticut. I mean, you're still thinking possible, even though you're down in a title game 4-zip right away.
You know, we try to stay positive, and like you said, we came back from 4 down on Thursday, and you know, I just wanted to go out there and you know, try to throw up zeros as best as I could for, you know, as long as I could, and you know, we just couldn't quite get things going like we did on Thursday.
Another question. Did you have, coach, you just didn't have your best stuff here? You just weren't hitting the zone a little tighter? What was your?
No, the zone was fine. I mean, I just got behind a lot, and you know, you can't do that against this good of a team. You know, once I got behind, I had to, you know, try to throw it a little more down the middle. But you know, and they're gonna hit that when they're this good a team.
When we started out in February in a doubleheader, middle of the week at home against Montevallo, we 10-run ruled them both games, and we went down to Rollins College and played a doubleheader. And for the first 2 weeks of the season, we were hitting on all cylinders. I've never had a team come out as hot as this team was, pitching, defense, and hitting, executing the small part of the game. You know, we worked on all the little things through January. We tried to implement all the little parts of the game on moving runners and bunting runners over all the time in inter-squad, and we just came out hitting and executing all that stuff. And it was a little bit worrisome as a coach that, you know, you're that hot, and knew at some point a little bit was going to cool off, but what I knew we had confidence in was our defense and our pitching. And that's been our staple of our program, and that's what we've tried to preach and build our confidence off of. And going into the year, I knew we had the opportunity for the best offense we've ever put on the field. And I liked all where our position players were and the dynamics each one of them brought in the lineup. And I thought we had all facets of the game in our lineup. We had speed, we had guys that could put the bat on the ball, we had guys that could drive the ball with some power, we had guys that were willing to do their role and get runners into scoring position. And it takes that to sustain. And I mean, go through, you know, we played 62 ball games, 61, and only have single-digit losses. This team's played well all year long.
How big was that first inning there, you know, to get those 4 runs?
Well, that was huge. And, yeah, it was huge, and it started with Tate once again. You know, he's a table setter, and he's done that all year long for us. Had a little bit of a struggle there at the end in the conference tournament, but you know, I went to him before the regional and said, "You're going to be the leadoff guy, and we're going to win or lose without you. We wouldn't be here without you." And we believed in him, and he knew what his role was and what he needed to do. And told him speed doesn't go into slumps. You just put the bat on the ball and get it on the ground. You know, you're going to make some things happen, and he's done that. And so, you know, the 4-run inning obviously takes a little pressure off the pitcher, off Danny. You don't expect that in a championship game, but I was just really psyched that our guys were locked in right out of the gate, and I know we had a lot of ground ball base hits, and that's what we do. And we're used to playing in a bigger park, and I thought this field set up well for us. Yeah, well, guys like Corey Dominic and Zach Taylor came up with a big hit there, 2 RBI hit. And Corey Dominic, may look bad in some at-bats, and he didn't hit over 300, one of the few guys on our lineup that didn't, but he's a great bunter. You can put the bat on the ball and the hit and run. He understands what we're trying to do with him down there in the bottom, and he's done a great job for us as well. In his defense, he was a middle infielder when he came in, and we moved him over to first base there in the fall and told him we thought we were going to have to use him over there. And you got hands of a middle infielder playing first base, and he's made our defense that much better.
Really, for any 3 of you guys, what's the feeling, and what was it like in that dugout? Obviously, it's sort of been decided pretty much in the last couple of innings there. What was the feeling in the dugout, and what was going through y'all's mind when that final out was made?
I really wasn't there. I was in my pitching zone. I mean, you can ask all them. I go to Special Island. I'm not in the game.
All right.
But it's something special. Words really can't describe it. We've played for this all year. This is what you dream about.
I mean, it's exciting. Like Danny said, words really can't describe. How great this feels. We worked for it all year, and jumping out to a big league like that was huge for us. We were excited, throughout the whole game, but still trying to stay focused and stay in the moment. Try not to lose ourselves. But it's just a great feeling. I'm just thankful for it.
Danny took it to another level this year, and he took a lot of pride in understanding and getting his body in better shape and getting stronger. He's worked hard in the weight room. All these guys have with our strength and conditioning coaches, and he built his body up to endure the rigors of a long season. And we pretty much told our 3 starters they were going to go weekend to weekend, and they'd have 5-6 days rest in between, and they needed to work out and work hard and long toss and keep preparing for each start. We mapped out they'd have 13, 14 regular season starts, and we wanted them to be strong in the postseason and not fade down the stretch. I think Danny learned last year in Postal they were a little tired when we got to the postseason and didn't have their best stuff, and I think that was a great learning lesson. So when you talk about maybe losing in the postseason, what you can take from it, it makes, if you've got any kind of passion and winning attitude in you, it drives you to do better and change some things so that when you're in that situation again, you can be better prepared to succeed.
Danny, talk about your outing today. I mean, getting a 4-run lead, you go out there and work with that. You had to feel pretty confident.
I mean, that was huge. That takes a lot of weight off your shoulders. You get 4 runs in the first inning. It's just like, okay, just go out there and just pitch the contact, those strikes, instead of trying to strike everyone out. Our hitters did what they did all year. They just put the ball in play and let the ball do the work. They did a great job. Our defense was amazing again today. Outstanding performance by infield, outfield, Hastings behind the plate. So I mean, just great job all around.
Although the start of the 2012 baseball season is still months away, the 2011 Winona State Warriors finished 2nd in the College Baseball World Series here in North Carolina. Congratulations to the Warrior team. For Eric Lear and the entire HBC crew, I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us here on HBC.